Hello, folks. This is Colin Roach here again from Amber Life Tours. And I just sitting around the house today. It's a rainy day here in Musanje, and I felt lazy. And it's one of those days you just drag in the house and drink some soup and kind of just reflect a bit. And so that's what I've been doing, enjoying the fireplace and so forth. Brothers and sisters, I want to talk about how our repatriation is going, my viewpoint on that. I've been here now 2 years, and I keep up with all this stuff on YouTube. I don't know all, but a lot of it on YouTube, but what people have to say and the statement, the condition between African Americans and Africans, and there's all sorts of stuff being said about it. What I would like to do is to rise above the fray for a little bit. First of all, we have to understand what we are facing, those of us who come back to Africa. There are some fundamentals we have to consider. Number one, we're coming from a Western society, modern Western societies in the United States, Great Britain, and the Caribbean to a large extent. Originally, I'm from the Caribbean, but I live in Los Angeles just about all my adult life. And we coming back home. We coming back into societies that are modernizing now. And our African brothers and sisters live with the stream of history. They swim in a stream of history that began thousands of years ago. And their customs and so forth date back to a long, long time. Well, in the Western world, basically, we don't have ancient customs unless we take our time to practice them for whatever reason. And that's just a few of us speaking, relatively speaking. That is the first thing. The second point we have to consider is that Africa by nature is tribal societies. Africa is based on tribalism. That's how Africa fell apart during slavery. There's some wonderful work done on this by a gentleman named, I think it's Anthony Broward or Broden or something. And he has a book and a videotape on it, how the Muzungus exploited tribalism in Africa and to ruin unity in Africa through slavery. So it seems to me that our contemporaries here, our continental brothers, many of them, they see us as they see us as another tribe. And when our culture is different from theirs, they would say things where like, you don't have a culture. And we have to now defend that kind of thing. Well, of course, it's nonsense. But I noticed the defense we've been putting up on that on YouTube is just as equal nonsense. Of course, we have a culture. And we don't have to answer the question. We have a very rich culture. African Americans and Caribbean people have a very rich culture. Our culture is young. It's about, 6, 7, 8 generations old. But our culture is very, very formidable. We do some things extremely well, and it benefits very well. But if you take a look at the end game of a culture is tied to politics, and politics drive economics. Well, one of the criticisms I hear of African Americans from these young Africans on YouTube is that we are lazy. Well, if we're so lazy, how come we got $63 billion a year to spend in travel and entertainment in America, throughout America and the rest of the world? Okay, think about that for a minute. We spent over $1 billion in the year return, plus all these great projects that are going on now in Ghana with African Americans and some other places too. If we were if we were a nation, if we were a sovereign nation, our GDP would be about number 15 or 16 in the world. We have $1 trillion economy. So I don't know how lazy people have all of this. How could lazy people have all of this wealth? The point I'm trying to make is that once people are tribal or they act in a tribal way, what they do is that they stereotype others. You know, we stereotype our brothers here, they stereotype us. You know, and we denigrate into name calling and so forth. And all of that is totally unnecessary. And my sense is going to pass as we all become mature of the situation that we're in and so forth. Because we bring tremendous benefit to Africa. Most of us here, the overwhelming majority of us here have money. We have skills, and we're doing well. Those who are not have a way of finding the way out, and they leave. So, and the whole problem, the whole process is for us to add value to Africa. I do that in my own way, and most of the people I meet do that in their own way. I don't like all the expats here, people I meet from America. Some of them I don't deal with, and because I have my own way of doing things. But that's just part of the human condition. Some of us are gonna like each other, and some of us not. So I think what people have to do is just excel at what you're doing. Just excel at what you're doing and keep going forward. And our brothers and sisters in the continent, well, they're already seeing it, who we are and what we can do. You know, the Africans who live abroad in America and the rest of the world know who we are and what we do. They bring back a lot of value. We also add value. You know, and so it is. But I'd like to talk a little bit now about the some of the comments I've heard from some of our expats here, African Americans. I heard one African American said that a prominent YouTuber, I won't name him, who said Africans owe us a debt and we should get land from them. I think he was saying free land or very cheap land and so forth. Well, brothers and sisters, let me give you my view on that. African Americans owe, continental Africans owe us a spiritual debt. They do. But you can't repay a spiritual debt with material things. They are different. One doesn't compensate the other. What our African continental brothers owe us is the cooperation. And most of them I met so far cooperate with us. What they owe us so far is their cooperation. That's what they owe us. And they are delivering on that so far. You know, you want land here, you buy your land. You know, I mean, you know, the people who want free land, I don't think they will have a plan to do much with it anyway. So, you know, I think what they owe us is our cooperation. And we are getting that for the most part. Now, the other thing is that if you owe me a debt and I tell you you owe me nothing, and I go along with the idea that you owe me nothing, it gives me an advantage. It shouldn't, but it does. That's how the human condition is. Take France and the United States. The United States saved France in World War II from the Germans, okay? And the United States said, you owe us nothing. We don't want any payback. We owe you nothing at all. We don't want any payback. And since then, the United States has always been in a good position with France. So my brothers from the States and elsewhere, from the diaspora, all brothers, continental brothers, owe us nothing. They know what they did. Sometimes they even pretend that they don't. But we know they know, and they know that we know what they did. So to reach for this, to go forward and reach for the stars, takes a little bit of strategy and a little bit of thinking. And moving forward together requires that. An apology every now and again from your friends in the continent is fine. You know, if they wish to do that, it's fine. But to me, land should be out of the question. I hear some other YouTubers, very prominent YouTuber again, I'm going to name this one, Kenganda. The brother makes a lot of sense on things that he says. But for some reason, Kenganda, brother, you always seem to be very hard on us, on our people, the expats, the African Americans. I don't know why. I don't know why you choose to do that. I could only guess that you ran into people here who did unsavory things or whatever. But for the most part, we contributed a lot in Ghana. We beginning to contribute here in Rwanda, where I live. Most of us are here between a year or two. In South Africa, we have done yeoman work over the years. When the freedom movement was on in South Africa and the apartheid was reigning, black people in Los Angeles sent money to the ANC, even when the ANC was a terrorist organization. So at great risk, we helped the ANC and we helped Mandela. You know, we also financed projects there, culminating in Oprah's school, which is Oprah Girls' School, which is tens and tens of millions of dollars. You know, we also have projects going on in Kenya. I know a school teacher in Kenya who has taken her own money and raised and started a school for kids who were actually thrown away. They call them throw-away kids. You know, the year return, and it's another thing. If you remember years ago in the 80s, I'm an older person, so I remember in the 80s, okay, in the 80s when Ethiopia was literally starving, African Americans took the lead in We Are the World. That's Whoopi Goldberg and several other people. They took the lead in We Are the World, and we also raised money from our churches. Privately, we sent about $20 million to Ethiopia back in the 80s. Those of us who are older remember that. You know, the young people who were born long after that don't even know of those things. You know, so African Americans have always stood by the continent in one way or the other. Remember the effort of Randall Robinson's brother, who worked, the Harvard attorney, who worked tirelessly to get Mandela out of jail, and all the things that our politicians, like, I can't remember her name now, she's from California, and all those brothers and sisters did behind the scene to get Mandela out of jail, which is why Mandela said, we owe the African Americans something we can never repay. And it goes on and on. It goes on and on, you know. We have African Americans, we have Ghanaian people and other students who lived for quite a long time in African American homes when they came to America to go to school, you know. So when we hear people criticizing African Americans and calling us lazy and all of this stuff, we have more wealth than anybody else in Africa. You know, I mean, maybe except for Nigeria, but I don't see them doing much of helping anyway. So, you know, and so all this criticism of us, to me, doesn't make sense, you know, when we have pulled our way to Africa for years and years and years, you know. African Americans give away money all over the world. The Baptist Church, the organization of African American baptism or whatever it is, Baptist churches, have given Haiti $58 million to be over, I think, a 5-year period to rebuild roads and so forth. And people have gone there to rebuild the place, church members. You know, it's time people start saying who we are and what we do. And we don't have to take any of this, and we shouldn't have to sit down and take this criticism. We should respond, not in a vicious way, but in a factual sense. You know, we have our pride and our dignity, and we respond in that way. You know, we are Americans, okay? We are African Americans, and we are Americans. And there are things about America that I like, with all of the problems and with the white supremacy and all that stuff, I believe. But I tell you, Mr. Kenganda, there are things about America that I like, that I've prospered in America from. And there are 1.1 million Africans living in America today. 1.1 million and prospering. And they shouldn't call us any names. Because, like I said, we have helped Africa a whole lot. Okay, and will continue to do so. All right? What you could do, use your wide audience of all these tens of thousands of subscribers you have, is to tell the young Africans, remind them of what our history with Africa. The whole Pan-African movement was started in the expat community by Marcus Garvey. Kwame Nkrumah went to school in America. Okay? Dr. Eric Williams, the Prime Minister of my native country, Trinidad and Tobago, got his PhD from Howard. And the government of Trinidad, for a long time, was giving Howard money, you know? And so, you know, helping support the university. I don't understand why all this criticism is driven to us. Our HBCU system has housed and educated many, many, many people from Africa, right? And all over the world. So I think you guys, with your tremendous following of subscribers, should try to stop this nonsense. It's not going anywhere, and it's not doing anybody any good. All right, I could go on, I could say a whole lot more, but that's all I will say right now. I'm up here in Musanze, Rwanda. I'm enjoying it here. I like living here. It's a wonderful place. Well, I just love Rwanda. I just love Rwanda to say. But Musanze is special to me and close to my heart. So I'll close out now. And, you know, I hope to hear from people if they choose to respond. And I'm here. Anyone can contact me here. This is Colin Keith Roach, signing out. Bye-bye.